The primary purpose of the CAF podcast is to express platform for creatives to express their personal views or opinions without restriction or censorship. All views or opinions expressed during the CAF podcast are solely those of individuals expressing such views or opinions and does not reflect the views of the CAF podcast.
There's a whole lot.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about this, sir, I had some stuff, and the day I DM you,
Right.
that's when my phone got the CNN update, and I was like, well, I be damn.
It wasted no time in the new year.
Like literally. So let me just get to it, man. Welcome back, Cal Podcast. Like this is turning out to be a segment that it is now. It seemed like at first it was like, let's talk more about politics, but it's like, nah. We need some understanding. And like I said, I always be looking for people to have a conversation. Just been blessed by this man who have one lifestyle, but he have another lifestyle that is really beneficial more than ever. We'll probably get him back on for another episode, talk about that other lifestyle. But for right now, we talking politics. We want to welcome back to the CAF, the one and only, the Cal Podcast political analyst, the one and only SirPlus. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Now, before we get into this, I just got to ask you a question. I got to ask you because I saw on your Instagram you just left. Is it hedonism?
Yep. Yeah, I went to hedonism too.
Just keep it real brief. How was it?
It was chill, man. This was actually a really chill trip, man. I go, like I said, once a year and I can just relax and walk around without clothes and eat good and drink good for a few days with some cool people.
Just know when we bring it back, we starting there.
I'm with it.
We starting there. Now, sir, I got you on. I was like, when the last time you on, we finished in August. It was so much stuff going on from January 2025 to August 2025. And then there's so much that happened from September 2025 all the way up to now. I wrote down stuff, but then for people who don't know, the Venezuela shit happened, and it was like, sir asked me, do I need to touch upon this to talk about? I said, sir, I don't even know. But let me just start from the beginning, and then we'll work our way to it. What we touch, what we don't touch, and we'll talk about it in June. First thing first, sir. Describe the 2025 political atmosphere to the people.
It was up and down, man. It was a roller coaster, right? So Trump was officially inaugurated in January. I think like we talked about last time, it was just a flurry of executive orders and ICE in the streets snatching people up. And then something happened as we got into kind of like this very awkward and unusually eventful off-year election cycle. You had Zoran Mamdani kind of capture the nation's attention with the New York mayoral race. You had Democrats winning big in New Jersey and Virginia. So hopefully rolling into 2026, it's going to be another, awful year with the administration doing what they're doing. But it seems like a lot of people are awake right now and they're not happy with what they are seeing. Affordability is still an issue. People are losing their health insurance, and health insurance is increasing for a lot of people. So it was a high note to end 2025, but it's looking like it's going to be another roller coaster of 2026.
Yeah, and let me also throw that the mayor race in Miami won their first Democratic mayor candidate, and I thought that was big too because this is all going on under the umbrella with all this deportation going on. And with what people don't know, Miami, it's a melting pot of people, but it's mostly people of color. So that was big to me too. All right, I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna keep it moving, sir. What is going on at CBS?
Foolishness. A lot of foolishness, man. So they are, they've turned over the newsroom to somebody who has to put it mildly, some questionable news judgment. And I think what we're seeing with a lot of, especially major media companies, people are complying and bending the knee early on, not wanting to get on the bad side of the administration.
Yeah,
And
I
from what I
totally
heard, and
see.
from the little bit that I read, they didn't want to air the 60-minute story um, because the administration didn't weigh in. They didn't get a chance to, or not. They didn't get a chance to. They refused to comment for the story, so CBS ran with it anyway. And if that's going to be the standard, where the administration has to comment, or we're not going to air, CBS is not going to air too much of anything that's critical of this administration, because all they got to do is say no, we're not going to talk about this.
It sounded like when Donald Trump was saying fake news, we always like, oh, he just saying it. Now it's like it's really fake news. Like it seems like not even he just feel like I, it's just like they scared. It's like
It's
what's the
it's dangerous. And I don't mean that to be in a hyperbolic way. And what I mean by that is, throughout history, at least the history of television, history of newspapers, when everybody was sort of watching the same programs, had the same access to information, we may have come away with different analyses of events, but we were working with the same sort of playbook of historical facts. What we're seeing happening now with this splintering of the media, we're getting to a point where people are going to have entirely different realities and just different versions of what is true and what is not true.
our podcast gonna become the new 24/7 news cycles?
Probably so. And that's also going to be questionable because a lot of podcasters are not journalists. Um, and I don't think every podcaster has to be a journalist, but somebody has to be a journalist out here and do some news gathering, and some interpretation.
All right, I'm gonna keep it moving. Now I'm gonna get to this topic because people always like, like if you talk bad about this politician or that politician, like it seems like people out to harm you. Well, somebody did get harmed, and it felt like somebody got harmed literally out of their own party because they wasn't, I guess, too conservative. But like the death of Charlie Kirk, one, let me just say this. That man got assassinated. Now, my next thing is that everybody's trying to make him seem like he was a saint, but he wasn't. So, I want to get your opinion on this because, once again, this happened after you got on the podcast. So, how did you feel about that whole Charlie Kirk incident?
Crazy. I mean, I think, regardless of people trying to diminish or saying he was just a podcast or he was just a talking head, he was somebody, regardless of whether we agreed on his views or not, he was somebody that captured the attention of a lot of people. He had a huge audience and a huge influence, and what we see happening, whenever somebody of prominence is killed, even if it's a matter of celebrity, let alone folks in the political sphere, we see a power vacuum, and when there is a vacuum, people rush to fill that vacuum. So you are seeing like his wife is rushing in. You are seeing other podcasters, Nick Fuentes rushing in. So a lot of people are trying to fill that void, and what comes out of that, who knows? It is anybody's guess at this point.
Do you think his wife even cared? Because the way she been moving, I'm gonna be honest with you, I really forgot about her. But then the Nicki Minaj thing, which I was like, this lady is really using her husband Dell to push her celebrity. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she ran for president.
It'll be a little bit. I don't know what's in that woman's heart, but I can see her action. She is out here, making the most of the time, and whether or not she cares about that man, she is furthering an agenda that is at odds with you and me, for sure, to say the least. So, yeah, I don't know what's in her heart, but the actions are kind of horrifying.
Yeah. So, all right, man, we got Surplus one in here, man. The Cal Podcast political analyst kicking it with us, wrapping up 2025, giving us like the whole landscape of what's going on in his pen. Because I ain't finna be watching this stuff all day, but this man lives it and breathes it, so we're just gonna talk to him. All right, I'm gonna switch sides and I'm gonna take it to the right now. Uh, Vice President Kamala Harris, she put out a book. I don't know, did you get a chance to scan through it?
I read it. It was
Oh,
entertaining.
okay. See, this is why we got Sir, because I only read snippets. Because I bought the book, but I just didn't get a chance to read it. But what did you take from her book?
Uh, Overall, I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed the read, but again, I'm a politics nerd. I like knowing the ins and outs of campaigns and things like that. But I thought it was a good book, and just like folks before her and folks that come after her, she deserves to tell her story. But yeah, I thought it was solid. One of the things that people are analyzing what went right and what went wrong from 2024 ad nauseum. So this is another in that the one thing I think everybody can probably agree on is that 107 days to run a presidential campaign is probably not enough for anybody.
Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you this question. I know we talked about this after the election, but uh, did she really have an honest shot to win it? And I mean honest because like we all saw the results, we saw everything going on, but if she didn't run, or let's say they would have put a white man, did she really have an honest chance to win it?
Yeah, I mean, I think one again, I think like I said last time, we have this two-party system. So you're starting out, regardless of who you are, with about somewhere between 30 to 40 plus percent of the vote automatically. How you reach out to that next 10 is what matters. And the thing with Kamala, and I think, the thing that would have hampered anybody, uh, even the whitest of white men, it was a very short time frame. And like I said last time, we had about 7 million fewer people that voted in 2024 than voted in 2020. And that was really what doomed her, is that people were feeling very cynical. People were feeling left behind. The Biden administration did a lot of good work. They were terrible at talking about doing a lot of the stuff, talking about doing the work that they did, and I think that played a role as well. A lot of people forgot how bad the first Trump administration was, and in the polls, there was some polling that talked about that as well. I don't know if anybody, again, and had we talked about her not running, then we're talking about somebody that has less than 107 days. So for shits and giggles, let's say like 3 months to scale kind of this sort of national operation, and try to run against a Trump campaign that had been organizing for a couple of years at that point.
Mm, 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 Okay. All right. I'm saving you know what for last, and I ain't talking about Venezuela.
Right.
Uh, but let me go here because during Joe Biden presidency, everybody, excuse me, not everybody, Republicans, Fox News, MAGA, even there was some Democrats who was like, "What you see, believe. Don't believe what you don't see." Joe Biden health and the way he's talking is because he's old. Well, it's only been a year. We done see bandages on the hand. We done seen cankles. We done seen. It's a video. I wish I would have recorded. It was when Trump was at Mar-a-Lago for the New Year, where it seemed like he was walking with a peg leg, but straightened up when he saw the camera. And then, not to mention that this man, and this is just me talking, sorry, I believe this man has dementia. So should really, let me say it like this: why aren't people more focused on Trump health, even though I think he's 80 years old or 81?
About that, I think he's either close to 80 or surpassed that.
It's like why we're not talking more about this, and we got 3 more years of this man.
Yeah, because
Well, excuse
people
me,
want to
two,
win.
two. We in 2026. I'm tripping.
People want to win. And there are a lot of people. One, even though Trump is in poor health, a lot of people have already showed you CBS and like some of these other media organizations, they are still afraid of the president. It don't matter what mental shape he is in, there will be some people to carry out those orders, from the FCC to trolls on the internet threatening people. So a lot of folks are afraid, justifiably so, but people still got to fight. That notwithstanding, there are also a lot of people who they just want to win. And it is the sportification of politics is dangerous. And that is a lot of what we're seeing right now, where it's like the red team and the blue team. And it's like people are getting together to, watch an NFL game on
Mm.
Sunday. So as long as my side is winning, it don't
Winning.
matter if, the quarterback is throwing interceptions or launching the ball into the stands. People are cheering for their side, regardless. And they're, or let me say, not everybody's cheering for their side, but too many people are cheering for their team, regardless of what the team is doing.
All right. Ice, ice, baby. What now I'm gonna say this. I think well, I'm just gonna say Latinos. I'm about to name all these other different countries, but I think Latinos, I think they kind of realizing that voting for Trump, and I'm gonna say this again because I always tell people, they say they're gonna get rid of the bad immigrants, the illegal ones, but just like they did black people, they can't tell the difference between the good and the bad. So all y'all look alike. So all y'all gone.
Yeah, I don't
So
think it was ever a matter of like taking out the worst folks, because we don't see ICE getting into no shootouts with no real folks. They snatching up kids and elderly people and shooting at pregnant folks, and shooting balls at pastors and things like that. This is largely a bully and a terror campaign. And I think, like I said last time, I don't know what part of we think people who are undocumented are illegal, and therefore everybody is a criminal under that definition,
mhm.
have folks thinking they were going to be spared at the end of the day.
No, well, the reason why I said it because I think it was either CNN or CBS, one of the two. They did what you call it, a documentary, whatever, and they was talking to the people of Latinos, and they was like, Did you think it was really like?" They were like, "No, we thought Trump was going to deport the illegal ones." Well, he deported my nephew, my uncle, my mom, my sister, my friend, all that, and these people are taxpayer and citizens. But it's like we didn't know it was gonna be like this, and then some of them saying like if we would have known this, we wouldn't have voted for Trump. It was like, and I'm gonna keep going back to it. It's like what in the past that you saw from Trump where you was like, this is good, and it's like nobody can explain it. So, which leads me to my next question, and then I'm gonna keep saying this. Do you think AOC should run for president?
It's a tough one, man. It's early. Like we are, what, about 2 years away from 2028? Like really, I mean, about a year and a half away. But so much can happen, in the span of 2 years. Like nobody was like, I think about a year ago, we weren't talking about Gavin Newsom, and his name is out there. People are still talking about Kamala running again. So it's so early to talk about 2028. I think AOC, a lot of it will depend on what's going on in the country, and the
To
mood
me,
of the country.
I think she will have with everything going on with immigration ICE. I really do think she will have momentum. Now, will I think they will vote for her? I don't care if it's a woman. I think they will vote for her just because, like, she wouldn't do that to people who look like her.
Yeah, she'd certainly be a more compassionate. I think anybody at this point would be a more compassionate president than what we have now, minus like the folks in that are staffing this administration. But yeah, 2028 is going to be interesting, and it's way too early to start speculating right now.
Okay, I'm still we're still gonna speculate because I got some
Oh
names for
yeah,
you
I'm
to
with
mention.
it for
All right,
sure.
now the last things we're gonna talk about before we get to Venezuela. It seemed like they all came together. All right, sir, what really happened during the government shutdown?
A lot of people suffered, and Democrats caved, for lack of a better. Eight Democrats essentially went around their leadership and kind of
Right.
caved, for lack of a better term. They got a promise of a vote, and as we see, those healthcare subsidies that they shut the government down for, have expired. I don't think they're going to get renewed. So this is definitely going to be an issue that comes to the forefront. I think, also what we saw here was just what was clearly illustrated. Democrats' lack of real power here, right? Because they needed some Democratic votes to open the government back up. But Republicans don't necessarily care about governing
Mm-mm.
at this point. And Democrats, whether they needed 8 Democratic votes or 2 Democratic votes to reopen the government, Democrats at the heart care more about governing, and are typically the adults in the room where Republicans are not. I think they would have left the government closed as long as it took, and they were going to turn the screws. They didn't care if their constituents got hurt, if Democratic constituents got hurt. They're going to let the government close until they got what they wanted.
Okay, now I'm glad you brought it up because me personally, I thought they did cave and it was some sucker ass shit. But them doing what they did, it kind of opened up Jeffrey Epstein. And it was the Republicans or MAGA, whatever you call it, was like the Democrats shut us down. The Democrats shut us down. It's like, okay, they came, but when it came back open, Trump, he probably would have wished that the Democrats never would have came because it literally brought the Epstein file. Soon as the government all this went down, it was like Jeffrey Epstein back in the front. Like, so how do you think that played out? Like, how did we go from a government shutdown to literally 24 or 48 hours, we back to talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
So that was always going to happen, right? So what happened? There were 2 special elections late last year. There was one, I can't think of the state. There was a Republican that won that special election. He was sworn in almost immediately.
Yeah, they
There
did
was
it
a
like in
yeah,
they did it in
yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah, there was another special election in Arizona where I think her Adelita Grijalva
Yeah.
won, and she came out the gate when she was campaigning. She said, "I'm going to be the 218th name on this discharge petition." So with the government shut down, Speaker Johnson, quote unquote, had a valid reason for not swearing her in to make her that 218th vote. If the government had not shut down, that just we would have just gotten there sooner than we did. But that was always coming because she was gonna have to get seated eventually.
But also, this is why we got you, sir. If I'm Donald Trump, though, and you know that is waiting, why push to reopen the government? If anything, I'm telling them, like, hey, do what you got to do because the closer we do this, we're going to open up these files again. So it was like I didn't understand the game plan, not for the Democrats no more, but it was for MAGA and Republicans. Like, y'all push said the Democrats to do this, then they cave, and it's like the ball still ended up back in your court.
I mean, the thing about it is that there's a contingent of people on the left that care about child sexual abuse. There's a contingent on the right that also cares about child sexual abuse. So there's some legit bipartisan outrage on behalf of the lack of release of the Epstein file. So like again, we were always going to get here, and one of the things that we saw when Trump came out and tried to move the goalpost and say this is a Democratic hoax, and if you support the release of the Epstein files, you're not one of my supporters. People didn't back down. Like a lot
No.
of those Republicans in Congress were like, "Hey, uh, sorry, big dog, I can't rock with you on this one." And they signed a discharge. Enough of them signed that discharge petition anyway, and they only needed a handful for the record.
And I say whoever in charge of his media team or whatever you call it, consultant, y'all really fucked up with that shit. Like nobody believed this was a hoax. Like the fact that he even said those words, I think made it worse. Like just like this man literally sexually abused underage girl, and you saying it's a hoax to the point where if it was, let me just go ahead and bring her up. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, your biggest cheerleader, saying, no, this is not a hoax. Like, it seems like I guess he thought his words was magical, but it seemed like he dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, I mean there are people who can only go so far. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, love or hate her, she was terrible to a lot of her colleagues in Congress. she said and did a lot of horrible shit.
A
But
lot.
there are some people, and she is one of them that are truly on an America First agenda where they're looking like, hey, why are we spending all of this money on other countries? Why are people suffering here? Child sexual abuse is legitimately not cool with me, and I can't rock with that. So there are some people, even if we disagree with them on 99% of the issues, are were legitimately outraged on the Epstein thing. And they also leaned on her, and she didn't appreciate that too much. And at the end of the day, like so many other people who fall out of favor with Trump, she got burned as well.
All right, so this is where I fall back and I just say I say a couple of words and I let you handle it. Sir, tell everybody everybody your opinion of the Epstein files as I sip and fall back.
I don't know if we are ever going to find out the full depth of what happened. Whether that is because victims are rightfully afraid to come forward, whether there are people who are deceased. Um, I don't think we're gonna ever get the full story. And there have been so many things I've read about Epstein having some connections to like spy networks and things like that. The stuff that you read really does sound it reads like a movie. I do think we will be able to. There are some people out there, I think it was Bill Clinton, and there were a couple other folks who were like, hey, you could drop everything with my name in it. I don't have nothing to hide. So I think, largely, I think we're going to get a slow drip of files. I think some stuff is going to come out. I think what is more likely to happen is that people are going to start drawing their own conclusions about people. And that drumbeat of release the files will get louder. I think at some point in time, somebody's just going to leak the stuff. I think that that's probably the most likely thing to happen. Somebody is going to go rogue and copy a bunch of pages and send them out to the press.
I'm I'm gonna be honest with you. When Marjorie Taylor Greene said um, that she knows the names that the victim told us, I was like, say those names because now it's like, oh, you think I did something? Go check the Epstein files. You'll check. I didn't do it. So now it's like, but once again, like you said, I don't know if she has the heart to come out and say the names that the victims told them.
I think the hard thing here too is like at least if we're talking about federal stuff, like who's going to carry out like if Trump wasn't in office, like we'd be having a different conversation. I don't know how much they can direct the FBI to like stand down. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like who's going to arrest some of these people if these are federal charges, or who keeps these people safe at the end of the day. If we have somebody who is named in the files and doesn't seem to be wanting these files to be released, Republicans control every branch of Congress. They control the federal law enforcement apparatuses. So it's like if we get some folks, like then what? Like who brings the case at this point?
Mm, All right, Glenn Maxwell. She was in, let's say, a shitter, and now she's somewhere walking her dog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just stick to this. I've been saying this, and I said this when you was on last time. She is going to get pardoned. I don't know when, but as soon as she get pardoned, she's on the runway to whatever country she's going back to, Britain, Paris, or London.
She
So,
got to go somewhere
uh,
without an extradition, probably.
I'm still sticking to that. So yeah. All right. I think that's pretty much about the Epstein. Boom, boom, boom. We talk about. All right. As I wrap this up, once again, we got SirPlus the CafePodcast political analyst. We gave him the title. He didn't know it, but he know it now. Kicking it with us, talking about the political atmosphere. Um, Two more questions, sir. No, not two. I got two, and I got some names to throw at you, and you just tell me what you think. First
Okay.
question: What do we all know now about Trump America?
What was it? What do we know about Trump? That what?
What do we know now about Trump's America?
It's gonna get worse before it gets better. we are
God,
probably
I knew you was gonna say that.
we probably gonna be digging out of this for the rest of our, at least like folks that are around my age and your age. We're gonna be undoing a lot of this damage for the rest of our lives, and hopefully we can pass on something better to our kids in the way that our elders gave us the Voting Rights Act, which is now about to be shredded, in the way that we got Roe v. Wade, in the way that we got a lot of the Civil Rights Act and things like that. Yeah, hope we're gonna be digging our way out, and like I said, hopefully we can pass down some good stuff to our kids.
I heard somebody say that we're right now on the edge of the cliff, and right now there's no turning back. We got to fall off. Do you believe that?
No, I wouldn't be doing the work that I do if I believed that. I think we're close to the edge. I think the best thing that we can hope for in 2026 is a stalemate at the federal level. And that is the Democrats take back the House, um, and you'll get some investigations, but at a bare minimum, you won't get a lot of legislation passed. So it'll be 2 years where we're kind of in this holding pattern. I don't think that Democrats have enough pickups to take back the Senate. But yeah, this is a year. This is a super important election year. If Democrats win the House, like I say, it'll stop a lot of the last half of this administration's agenda. There are still some things that they can do with the executive branch without congressional approval. But Democrats also got to win up and down the ballot across the country in these states as well, because there are also fights to be fought on city councils and school boards and in state houses as well.
What do Black people need to be more aware of going into 2026 in the political atmosphere?
Who is really for us and who is not? Um, and I think that also we have to be a little more politically mature and realize again that this is a long game. One of the drawbacks of like our social media culture is that it rewards immediacy. And we get so many hits, dopamine hits and reward hits on social media, that it is easy to fold up the tent when we lose and go do something else that makes us feel better. This is not going to be an overnight fight. Like I tell people all the time, the Montgomery bus boycott lasted over a year. And that was one place. So it's like we have to be at this point, we have to be willing to put in work for years. This is not going to be a one cycle victory. We talking about 10 years on the low end of being vigilant and fighting, because I think we won a lot of big victories in 2020 and we're right back here in 2026.
Literally, literally. Okay, all right. Now I know we talked about it. We mentioned Vice President Kamala Harris. We mentioned Gavin Newsom. We mentioned AOC. All right, I'm just gonna throw some names at you. And you could, if you want to give us a essay on it, you can. If you want to give us a short story, you can. If you just want to be real simple, yes or no, it's up to you. I'm leaving that to you. All right,
Okay.
first thing first. Jasmine Crockett.
For like just in general,
Yes.
man, I don't know if she can. I This is gonna be I feel like this is gonna be the unpopular opinion in the room of black folks. Um, I don't know if she can win statewide. It's gonna be a matter of organizing, and I think one of the things that is missing on the left, and I want to preface what I'm about to say, is that none of this is a shot at Jasmine at all. Um, James Tallarico, who was the other candidate running in that Senate race, brings something very important to the left, and that is his faith. And I, like a lot of black folks, see themselves represented inside the Democratic Party on the left. Um, Folks who are non-religious, there's a lot of secular folks represented on the left. There is a major constituency that, for whatever reason, does not see themselves represented in the Democratic Party with liberals and progressives on the left, and that are like, and that is like white religious folks. And he speaks to them in a way that very few other candidates do. And I think that if he can tap that audience and bring some of those folks over, he will be very formidable in a general. If he, assuming he wins the primary, he would be very formidable in the general election, and even on the national circuit. Because again, I'm not a religious person, but I see myself represented over on the left. Again, there are a lot of religious folks who do not. So he speaks to folks that I can't speak to, that like a Bernie Sanders can't necessarily speak to. And if we are going to turn back the tide, um, we need a variety of voices. Coming back to Jasmine, I definitely, if she does not win uh this primary, and if she wins primary, if she is not in elected office, I do hope that she will still be visible, still be speaking out. Her voice is 100% needed, whether she is in office or not.
Westmore.
Oh, so this is gonna be my caveat for everybody that's in elected office. I think Westmore is in a great position to potentially run in 2028 if he wants to. Super popular guy, has a network, has a fundraising network, is well liked. People in 2028 are going to have to run on more than I'm not Trump. And people who are in elected office are going to have a very strong record of delivering results.
All right, I'm gonna throw this joker at you. John Stewart.
Needed voice. Um, yeah, much needed voice. I'm curious about like what if he's reaching a younger demographic because like when I was a young person, like people at my age were watching the Daily Show, but still a needed voice in politics. I'm curious about whether or not he's reaching folks who are like 18 to 24 though.
Okay. Now this is the floor. I'm gonna let you. If you want to talk about Venezuela, sir, I'm gonna let you. I ain't like when it happened. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna go into this right now. But I'm gonna leave it at you. If you want to talk about it, go for it.
Yeah, we can go there. And again, prefacing everything by saying I'm not a foreign policy expert. Venezuela's complicated, right? Like there is no 100% good or like 100% bad. So multiple things are true here at the same time. Nicolas Maduro is a terrible person, who has done terrible things to people, to families, and to the country at large for a very long time. Uh, that being said, it is still it still sets a very dangerous precedent, and we've done this before. We've removed folks before when we can go in, um, and kidnap a president and his wife and
Mm.
arrest them and bring them back for trial. Both of those things are true. It is also true that there are people in Venezuela who are happy about this. Because again, Nicolas Maduro did a lot of terrible things to people. So they are happy that he's gone. In much the same way that if somebody ran up in the White House and snatched up Donald Trump, a lot of us would be happy as well.
Hello,
Uh, right.
hello.
At the same time, um, that does not mean that what comes next is going to be good for the people of Venezuela or good for anybody else. They already signaling the play. Trump was out there the same day, I think in the 12 or so hours after that, saying the U.S. is going to run Venezuela until there's a transfer. Hey, they're not even trying to pretend that this isn't about oil. They're already talking about bringing in companies to invest in the country. And we've seen this movie before. We saw this in Iraq.
Yep.
Um, we have seen this in a number of other countries, when leaders, whether they be popular or unpopular, are taken out. Companies come in, particularly in the countries that are resource heavy, and Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world. Um, so yeah, I don't see this government or whatever government is installed next saying, "Hey, the majority of the profit is going to stay right here in this country." I could be wrong, but I've seen this movie a whole lot of times,
I'll be
and very
honest with you.
rarely, yeah,
No, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know Venezuela had oil like that. I thought all the oil was in Iraq and Iran. And then I saw a clip. I'm like, I wonder if did Bush? I guess he didn't want to attack Venezuela, but went for Iran, Iraq because after the 9/11 attack, it made sense.
Yeah, there was an opening. There was an opening there. Via 9/11, just like there was an opening here with the quote unquote with the drug cartel stuff, and that was the pretense
I forgot about the boat
for all of
shit.
this.
Damn it.
Yeah. So yeah, there was an opening there. There is like an opening here to kind of get around Congress because Congress is supposed to have the war declaration powers via the Constitution. But yeah, I've never seen it. But essentially, if the next government does right by the people, and that would certainly be one of the first, Venezuela would be sitting pretty. Shouldn't be There should be next to no poverty. Again, you're talking about the largest oil reserve in the world. And we see how Riyadh is looking right now.
Yes.
And the money that they are throwing around out there. So yeah, if it's unlikely to happen, but yeah, there's an alternate universe where they get somebody in there that's democratically elected and wants to do right by the people, and companies who come in and invest are not going to be able to rob the country of all of the money and the resources. That's probably not likely to happen though.
2026, man. Sir, I already told you we already got to book you for June because I
I'm with
guarantee
it.
there's gonna be more shit gonna happen, and I guarantee you when the day we choose in June, something gonna happen the day before like we did this time. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Sir. Make sure y'all follow him on Instagram at Sir. Is Sir one
It's
plus?
no at the one surplus the number one surplus on Instagram.
Follow him if you want to. No. Let me say this. Follow him on
Yeah.
TikTok too if you really want to get some good information because it seems like TikTok is more PG.
Yeah.
IG is more of where you get the hedonism and all that information. So make sure you
Yeah.
follow him on TikTok for that. And then and let me just say that if you have any questions, don't be afraid to DM. He'll answer you. Just ladies, just ease up on it because I know y'all want to ask some other shit. But he's there for it all. Sir, appreciate you for doing this. We're
Thank you for
gonna
having me.
we're gonna get you back talking about more about hedonism because that video that we posted of you, not the one talking about the politics, the one you was doing your little whip thing.
On the boat.
Yeah, if you go look at that video, it's picking up numbers. It's not moving like in the thousands, but when we first posted, it was 48. Now it's 112.
I'm with it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Sir, the CafePodcast political analyst. Like I always say, we're gonna get better, do better, and just at the end of the day, pray for your president. Pray for your president because we need it. Sir, appreciate you doing this, and everybody else,
Appreciate
y'all
you
have
having
a
me.
good one.
G14 classified. That's good.
Headline, Starlight.
DJ Star.